I was diagnosed about 2 years ago with a sleep disorder called idiopathic hypersomnia. Since I was about 13, 30 years. Extreme fatigue. It is a beast. It is such a beast. Dropped out of college, kept falling asleep in a lecture or a church, or going through life like that. It's not fun. This diet, after 90 days, I was able to completely get off of the stimulant that I was prescribed, and I'm profoundly grateful. I have had the worst PMS ever since I was a teenager. Just morphed into something wild and crazy. Had to figure out on my own that I had PMDD. If you don't know what PMDD is, it's just extreme PMS. 10 days before your period, sometimes 14 days. So you're pretty much miserable half the month. Irritability and fatigue and serious muscle tension all throughout my shoulders. It was so bad. All of that to say, I was put of Zoloft. That's the treatment for PMDD. Yeah. This diet has probably 90% eliminated all of those symptoms. I may notice a little bit of increased irritability or sensitivity around that time. There's no bloating, there's no inflammation. It's kind of astounding. I started slowly titrating down my dose of my Zoloft a couple months ago. I was taking like 37.5 milligrams instead of 50. And these are really low doses, by the way. For weeks now, I've been on that. I'm just like blown away. Everything I believe about this diet and why it works and how it works, which is basically that. Because our brains are mostly made of fat, our brains kind of direct everything, right? I'm not super smart, but that's what I learned. Seriously, when you're eating fat, primarily fat, brain's like, oh, you're fine. I cannot put into words how shocked I am with this one thing alone. I've always been a really cold person. Like I was one of those people that always had to have a sweater or a hoodie for everywhere I went. I would often be so cold that I could not get warm. I would be shivering and just feel freezing for no reason. It has completely gone away. I go to the grocery store a lot for my job and I shop for people, and sometimes it'll be cold in the grocery store, and that used to be intolerable to me, like intolerable. Now I can just sense the cold and I can feel it, but I can handle it. So really bizarre. Skin has improved a lot. Obviously have wrinkles. I'm 45. I'm not great about staying out of the sun. I feel like my wrinkles are way better and my skin is plumper and it's softer. I feel like my skin is way more moisturized because I tend to have dry skin. I put collagen powder in my coffee in the mornings. I believe it's mainly just the high amount of fat that is helping my skin. I have always had reactive hypoglycemia. My dad had diabetes. It's like I just don't react to carbohydrates normally. Well, I don't know about normally, but I would get low blood sugar episodes if I didn't eat, if I waited too long to eat. But primarily I would get them if I ingested way too much sugar or a lot of carbs. Waited a few hours and got hungry again, I would have massive low blood sugar. It was always unexpected. And, now that I've educated myself, it's actually really dangerous. And there were multiple times in the last few years where my low blood sugar would get so bad that I would just not be able to move, or would just be on the floor because I couldn't walk. My kids would have to hand me juice or something for me to drink because you get shaky, dizzy. It was really scary. You feel like you're going to black out. The solution for that is always eat sugar. To me, that's not a solution. It's very suspicious. And I think I was closer than ever to being diagnosed with diabetes, or pre-diabetes at least, before I went on this diet. It was so crazy because I don't eat that many carbs. I wasn't eating that many carbs, but I had have a certain amount of carbs to be able to function, but then it would always backfire. And since I've done this diet, then I have not had one episode of low blood sugar. My blood sugars are basically steady because of eating fat primarily and protein and being in ketosis. So you just don't get that low blood sugar. And what I love about it is that I can go for hours and hours without eating, but often 6, 7, 8 hours. There was one time I had a huge ribeye for dinner, and then I didn't get hungry until like 16 hours later, and I felt amazing. That's when I kind of realized that ribeyes are the perfect food, which I heard that a lot from carnivores, but when I started trying to just eat a ribeye and see how I felt compared to eating other meats or other things, ribeyes are like where it's at. Apparently they have the perfect ratio of fat and protein. Unfortunately, they're not cheap, so as much as I'd love to eat that every night, it's not going to happen. I've already mentioned my energy levels are really stable. In fact, I have extremely high energy levels. Sometimes it feels like too much energy, but I think that's because I don't let go of my coffee. So yes, I drink coffee, and I'm sure that's going to upset some purists. Oh well. Energy is just so even across the board, and like I'm 45. I never had this much energy in my life. It's just hilarious. It's kind of sad. It's like every day now, instead of some random day where I would, have energy before in my life. I wish I felt like this every day, but that was so rare. Muscle tone and fat loss. On this diet, I lost 5 pounds. It took maybe 2 months. I got down to my ideal weight, which is 115, and that's where I feel like that's my ideal weight, and I haven't dropped below that. I lost fat, but I also gained muscle, and what I love is that I hated my legs before. This is the first summer I've worn shorts because I hate my legs. There's actual some definition in my legs, which now like I can wear them and I'm like, wow, I have like muscle definition. I had a little bit of cellulite on the backs of my legs that I've always had. Really kind of went down like almost to the backs of my knees. I know that's gross, but it's hereditary, and I think it was also my diet. It always kind of bugged me, like when I was wearing a swimsuit. Well, I looked in the mirror a few times in the last couple weeks, and I realized that while I still have a little bit of that cellulite, it's more up higher on the backs of my thighs. So that really gotten better, and that's crazy. It's a nice perk. That I have noticed with this diet. And it's why I just am so passionate about telling people about it. There is something to this because it's not just me. I never felt like it was easy to just shut off those feelings or thoughts that were negative or victim mentality or feeling sorry for myself. I'm sorry, but if you know me, and some of you know me, that I have been through an absolute nightmare this past year. My husband and I and our children, my relationship with Jesus, and this journey to carnivore, which has been a gift from him. Those two things have helped me to endure a tremendous amount of suffering, grief. I could not handle this situation the way I have without this diet. I just wanted to read from the Catechism of the Catholic Church under the section Life in Christ and Our Vocation. A virtue is an habitual and firm disposition to do the good. It allows the person not only to perform good acts, but to give the best of himself. This part really spoke to me and why I want to do this channel and create a like-minded community of Catholics. The virtuous person tends toward the good with all his sensory and spiritual powers. He pursues the good and chooses it in concrete actions. So I thought that was really simple but profound. It's much like Saint Therese, who I'm dedicating this channel to, Saint Therese of Lisieux. Lately, she's just had a call on me, and seems that she wants to intercede in our family in a way I didn't expect. It's been quite beautiful to experience that. We are moving into, if you feel so called to share this video with someone who may be struggling physically, emotionally, please share this video, get the word out.